Museo Nacional del Virreinato in Tepozotlan, 44 kilometers of Mexico City. It's a nice museum about religious art, and it's the most complete collection of colonial art and artifacts, one of the finest Baroque churches and this splendid former Jesuit college built in the 17th and the 18th century together make up a stunning museum covering Mexico vice-regal era. The church and college building, a vast complex with courtyards and gardens in the quaint village of Tepozotlan, where expelled from New Spain, Jesuits established this college in 1767. They were extensively restored and opened as a museum in 1964. Exhibits include treasures preserved in situ as well as pieces brought here from other collections around the country. The centerpiece of the museum is Iglesia de San Francisco Javier. It's constructed in the late 1600s. Its majestic Baroque church is famous for its splendid 18th century additions. The richly decorated Churrigueresque facade and towers and exuberant gold altars, a trio of unusual chapels on the side, and the Miguel Cabrera murals in the chancel and cross vaults. The facade and interior are both prime examples of Mexican High Baroque. Together they form an harmonious whole equaled only by Santa Pacia in Tasca and San Cayetano near Guanajuato. So it's really striking, visually striking church. One of the top 5 churches that we've seen in Mexico, and likely one of the top 5 churches that exist in Mexico. One of the most striking part is the Camarín de la Virgen. This profusely decorated octagonal chamber once served as a dressing room for the Virgin of Loreto. The statue, vestments, and jewels were changed regularly. The beautiful dome is shaped like a papal tiara. The main altar is the most imposing of the altars in the church and dedicated to San Francisco Xavier, patron saint of the Jesuit college. They also the altar to the Virgin of Guadalupe centers on Miguel Cabrera painting of the patron saint of Mexico. The Casa de Loreto is said to be the replica of the Virgin Mary Nazareth home, which angels moved to Loreto in Italy when the Muslims invaded the Holy Land. A 17th century image of the Virgin of Loreto adorned the gold altar in the otherwise sober interior. The dome rising above the intersection of the Latin Cross, nave, is best seen from the viewpoint in the museum. There is an altar to St. Ignatius Loyola that shows the founder of Jesuit holding a book displaying the order crest and motto. Altar to the Virgin of the Lavus. There are multiple cherubs and angels surrounding the central image of the Virgin and Child. One proffers a basket containing souls from purgatory. The pulpit beside the altar is from the church in Mexico City. The facade of the church has imagery and style of the frontispiece echoes that of the altar inside, while the abundance of the finely carved limestone prepares the visitor for the brilliant interior.